Good morning, everybody. Hang on a second here. There we are. Well, you know what happens when you decide to put a title on a video that involves the word stress and free? Yes, well, let us all pause for a moment, shall we? You may hear voices, and that's going to be okay because they are expected and they're not imaginary. So here we go. My name is Abby Haggard, and here we are in my tiny little corner of the world. Outside there, it is raining like it forgot how much fun it was. Holy doodles. It's coming down sideways. All right, which is, of course, another good reason for us to talk about stress and release. So here's here's what's happening. I I have people coming in who know I'm doing a video, but it's new for them, right? So that's a thing that may or may not be happening. What I wanted to talk about today, and by the way, this is episode 360. 360 of these that you have shared with me. So thank you. And when I say you, like that, I'm talking about, of course, Facebook, of course, YouTube, of course, LinkedIn, of course, Instagram, and of course, Twitch. You're all here. You're all here. And I think that is absolutely incredible. And I'm so grateful. So thank you. You're making all of this work, which is so important. So I had this very long and lovely conversation the other day with my producer partner. And we were talking about the block that everybody's dealing with, the mental block, the mind block, the everything block that is standing in the way of all the things that we are really very good at and actually quite gifted at delivering. Good morning, Daniel. How nice to see you. How nice to see you. Cheers. And I was saying that I had noticed recently that a lot of people are talking about this concept of flow. Flow meaning effortless, not as opposed to untethered from the dock and now helplessly being carried downstream out of the fjord and into the ocean. Not that flow. And what I was hearing a lot of in these various things that I was reading and bits and pieces that I was watching was this idea that, kind of like the whole manifesting thing, you have to achieve flow. You have to do this special work, and it's there's magic code words and there's things you have to do. You know the way athletes are before a game. They have these mysterious, superstitious things they do in order to go out. Never change their underwear, that sort of thing. People are putting together a concept that success is complicated, that serenity, that peace of mind, that excellence, that our original tada self is a slog to get to. And you see, that's wrong. And I couldn't figure out why they're all saying it the wrong way. And then the practical, jaded little voice in my head said, well, because when you sign up with them, they can keep you earning them money by signing up with them to learn stuff that doesn't work. Right. So I said, well, we're not doing that. I'll fix that. And so what I wanted to start talking about today was why that story that we're told, why that attitude that invades us, it permeates all of the the if thens that we think by and we live by and we are by, why that's there. And fundamentally, the reason people tell us stuff like that is that people told them that stuff and they're passing it along because it's all they know. We can only write what we know. We can only teach what we know. Can't teach something we never heard of. And so it just perpetuates. And we all end up feeling like the dumbest kid in the class because we don't get it. And I think on Tuesday or some other time, I talked about the early days of stand-up comedy, and which is about as much fun as being an airline stewardess. And the tips are about as lousy. Uh, what I had thought for the longest time when I was a child was that there was a book. There's a book on how to be. And the reason I thought so was that everybody else looked like they knew what they were doing. I have never looked like I know what I was doing, but that's because I didn't get the book. And so I went through a lot of years, a lot of my early years, thinking that, but for the book, if I'd only had the book, imagine who I could be. And then one day it occurred to me that maybe there isn't a book. Maybe there's never been a book. And we're all trying to emulate that person who looks like they know what they're doing. And they don't. They're tap dancing as fast as we are. And when you grow up thinking I have to be more like that, I have to reach that in order for me to be accepted, successful, happy, I have to go outside myself and try to take on in order to be 100% me. And that makes no sense because most of me is not out there. It's all here. I can tell you that now that I'm trying on my summer clothes, all of me is right here. we're going to we're going to start doing that orange juice concentrate workout routine where you get the same amount of meat but in concentrate form. Yeah, we got to be doing that very soon. And so when you think that I am incomplete, someone else has the key, then we're always chasing. And as my famous, brilliant, fabulous show business child once said many years ago, if you're chasing it, you're doing it wrong, period. Because it simply is. And we have all of it. We just don't know where we put it. Much like the other half of this closet that you can't see. This looks quite orchestrated and ordered, and the other side is frightening. So we never look over there. We never, ever look over there. So what I got today was this opportunity to give you really, really simple hacks, really, really simple automatic trigger mechanisms that you can do that are not time vampires. You don't have to set aside 3 hours every third Thursday. It's easy, it's doable. And once you get into the habit of doing all three, then it's just a matter of course. It's just, what you obviously take the cap off the toothpaste before you try to squeeze it. All right. So just saying. So if you get accustomed to just taking the cap off before you squeeze it, then this is how simple that is. And what I want is for you to look at this video today, this episode 360 of our journey together, 360 degree. We are now entering the life curve that we call Pivotry. We are making this fabulous turnaround. It's not 180, it's 360. We are coming round to see ourselves again with all this new information, all this new anticipation, all this new readiness to simply be and enjoy the hell out of it, right? So before I start, one quick sip. Now, also before I carry on, if new people watching are sitting here saying, she's fascinating, I think, who is she? I became a name of some sort with some segments of populations because of a TV show that I starred in called You Can't Do That on Television. The costume there is the mom costume that I wore. And I also co-created with a very small band of fearless pioneers, the Care Bears. In the original series, there were only 6, and I voiced 3 of them. And so those are groundbreaking, and they shaped a foundation and a platform for the way entertainment for youth audiences could be. So I was part of that. I was part of that tsunami. And then at the same time as that, and since, what I do is I create concepts for people, and I do events, and I do shows, And I train people to go find the part of them that is simply awesome immediately, right out of the box. That's what I do. So, and by the way, this concept that I call pivotry, a pivot is a hard turn. Pivotry is the decision to make that turn. You got to think it to do it, right? So, first thing I want to talk to you about isn't actually one of the three hacks. It is something to remind you how powerful we are and how we navigate stress. There is a game you can play. There was an exercise that somebody taught me when I was a kid. You stand in a doorway and you stand and you press the length of your arm against the sides of the door. I don't know, can I turn I'm going to see if I can turn this a little bit so you can see me. I'm going to go that way. There we are. Okay, so there's my doorway, right? Okay. So in this exercise, you actually need to do both sides of the door, but I'm just going to do half of it, all right? Okay, here we go. So, all right, so we can still see. If I stand in the doorway and I press my arm really hard against the door and I push as hard as I can, as hard as I can, and I count for, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds, right? And I'm pushing. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see that I'm pushing really hard. And when I step away, my arm goes up all by itself. Not for long. But what that is a message lag that I have been sending to my arm from my brain to push. And then when there we go, a little off kilter. Then when I step away from the one thing that is stopping me, the doorway, the message is still coming to my arm and it goes up. It's similar to, not exactly the same, similar to that thing that happens when you go to the doctor and he takes the little rubber hammer and he bonks you on the knee. And you say to yourself, not going to work. And your leg says, I'll be with you in a minute. And isn't listening to the thinking brain. So when these messages come from the origin source to the receiver, there's a small lag. In radio, it's called the 7-second delay. They broadcast 7 seconds late just in case anybody says something unfortunate, they can cut it. And so in our lives, we are constantly dealing with two kinds of messages coming in. We're dealing with our own, our everyday, our normal coping. And then we're also dealing with all the external stuff coming in. All of it, constant. If you're not on your phone doing this, it's everywhere. You know, they're still trying to break into the imaginary vault upstairs in my building. Apparently the drilling is going to stop this week. That's what they said yesterday. And I said to the fellow who told me, if it's wrong, don't worry, you're not the first man who lied to me. So that is a constant presence. My brain is taking it in. It hears it. The first few times it was startled and disoriented. But now it's a normal. And now it's just part of what goes on because I'm used to it. However, it doesn't mean I don't hear it. And it doesn't mean that part of my brain isn't trying to figure out what to do with it. And while that part of my brain is doing that, it's not present. It's not front and center, which means that I have to work harder to be here 100%, right? I have to do more work to achieve the same ordinary normal outcome. That is stress. And that is with us in our modern day 24/7, unless we go for a walk outside, far away from all the noise. And that's harder and harder to do these days. So my goal today, these are simple hacks that allow you to lose stress weight. They allow you to step away from the invisible burden on your shoulders. And once you practice them on a regular basis, they become the thing you automatically do to get yourself prepared. It's like the number of times you get it wrong before you realize you need to put your socks on before the shoes, right? As soon as you figure that out, your prep time is immediately a lot shorter. So, and I wrote them down to make sure that I don't forget. So the door is your reminder. You stand in a doorway, press both hands really firmly against the door jamb, count to 10, turn sideways and feel. It's not going to come up. You're not going to fly. You're not going to leave ground, but you can feel that the arm is not lifting because you're telling it to. It feels like it's on its own agenda. And that is the conscious awareness you now have that there are ways that we get rid of, we dissipate stress, because the door frame was the burden, was the stress holding us back, locking us down. And when we stepped away from the door frame, right? Easy peasy. So that is the beginning. Practice it when you have a chance and say, for heaven's sake, she's right. And if it doesn't work, press harder, really push as hard as you can and count to 10. Not fast, but count, really push, and then turn sideways and it comes up. So the first thing that I want you to do is really simple. It's so simple. It's called the 5-finger breathing exercise. I've done this with you before, okay? And what you do is you take one index finger and your other hand, and you just simply, gently trace the outline of your hand. And while you do that, pay attention to, focus on what that feels like, what the sensation is on the fingers of the hand that you're holding up. What that feels like. Pay attention to that. And then when you switch and you do the other side, no special breathing involved, no contortions, no pretzels, just a simple, relaxing, and literally this is 30 seconds. Easy. The next thing I want you to do is a thing I do to all very high-paying clients who want me to teach them how to let go of everything that is a distraction before they walk out and do the most terrifying thing that we all face at some point, and that is speak in public. And this is what I give them to do. I say, I want you to take your hand like this, and I want you to place it on top of your head. And I want you to press down. I want you to press down. Not hard, but I want you to press down. Count to 5 or 5. And then I want you to do the other hand. Press down really hard, really hard. And as you're counting to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want you to imagine me taking a picture of you and saying, this is the president and CEO of this company. Getting ready for his day. And every time I do that, the sneaky trick that I've discovered, I didn't invent it, I've discovered, is that it catches people unaware because they don't know when I'm going to do it. I can do it on the first time, I can do it on the third time, I can do it or not do it, but they're waiting for it. It doesn't matter if they're waiting for it, it still works. They realize how silly they look. Especially, there's one time I just held up a mirror. They saw themselves. And what happens is their panic focus on, oh my God, what's going to happen, stops now, instantly, forever, gone. It's snapped, gone. Why? Because the blink recognition of what I've created for them is a pure dopamine hit. The cortisol of fear and worry and anticipation, gone. Like you have to go to work to get that back. So that's they laughed. And sometimes they say, for God's sake, Abby. But they're now in charge. They walk out there like $1 billion. And sometimes they walk out there and they say, do you know what that woman just had me do? And if they do that, I reach out and I go, because the release of stress can only begin when we relax, when we breathe, and we remember that we're all human. No matter how important the imposition is on us, we are all human. We are all innately flawed. We all have no idea what we're doing half the time. We all secretly, fervently want to know where the bathroom is. Not that we need it right now, but when we do need it, we'd like to know. And as soon as I give people the opportunity to remember those things, 80% of the stress goes away, because we are trying to do two things simultaneously that are actually impossible for anyone. And it's a law of physics. It's not a manifest, if only it's not that, it's physics. You cannot physically be in two places separately, two separate places at the same time. Not possible. And why we get so stressed is because we have one thing that we're trying to do, and the other thing that we are allowing in is the noise from out here that is stealing our focus, stealing our attention. And it can be anything. It can be two people down the hall having an argument. It can be a dog barking. It can be a sudden loud bang outside. It can be we are a small child and there's two people in the other room having an argument, or someone crying. All of those things are indicators to our subconscious brain that there's danger somewhere. And if we can hear these or sense these things, the danger must be close. And what if it comes to us? That's what's going on when we allow these stress messages to interrupt. And the weight of trying to hang on to all of that, because so much of it is imaginary, it's huge. It's exhausting, and it creates an overwhelm of exhaustion that we see all around us today. So this hack is very simple. It does require a weapon of mass construction. And I know I should have told you that sooner. And we will practice this many times. So this is not the first and the only time you're going to hear it. So you're going to need a piece of paper, or you can use your later folder, or you can use napkins. And with your pen, I want you to write down something, one thing that is preoccupying your thoughts, that is getting in the way, that is creating concern for you. One thing, one external thing that you have decided to define as a problem. Okay? You write that thing down, whatever it is. You don't have to write a long why, just the bullet that you will recognize, just the point, form, keyword, or phrase that you will recognize. Okay? You write that down. So you've written it down. And underneath it, list the top 5 things that define the problem to you. So let's say parking. Parking is the issue. We had an issue the other day about parking, and I accidentally stumbled on a wonderful, wonderful, happy, simple win, and everybody was very pleased. Not only me, but everybody I told it to. So the first thing is it disrupts your day. If you can't find parking, you have to find parking. That takes too long. So it wastes my time. Okay. What's the second thing? I don't necessarily have the cash. If it's a meter, I don't know how I'm supposed to pay for it. So confusion, that's the second thing. The third thing, whatever they are, 5 of them, the top 5, okay? And then what I want you to do is I want you to look at those 5 things. And I want you to put an X on each one that is out of your control. Okay? Each one that you can't immediately control. It's not within your, if the parking is 10 blocks away, you can't fix that. Okay, cross it out. What's the other one? List them. Whatever it is that are the 5 top things that are bothering you about the situation, you cross out the ones that you cannot control. Okay, that means you are not the person to fix that. How many do you have left? How many do you have left of the original 5 that you can absolutely right now see a solution for? 1, 2, 3, maybe? So that means 2 or 3 are out of just completely beyond your control. Okay, now I want you to stop and look at that. This is the problem. These are the 5 things. I've already eliminated 3. How long did that take me? Ownership is back in your hands. Now you can focus on the 2 things that you can do. The other 3, those you can address later by finding out who does fix it. But in this immediate moment, you don't have 5. You have 2, maybe 3, maybe only 1. And you, in less than a minute, in less than 60 seconds, you got rid of more than half of the stress, all by yourself, with this and this. Our peace of mind is our natural state. Way before we could talk, we came into the world knowing nothing, except that at some point in the future, we're going to get even with the son of a bitch who just smacked me on the bum for no reason and made me go and cry. Eventually, I'll find that person and we will have a conversation. That's the only thing. Everything else is a blank page, an open book of possibilities. And we are fascinated by all the things we see. We're fascinated by our fingers. We're fascinated by our toes. At that stage in the game, we can actually reach our toes and put them on our head. I've done that recently by accident, and I want to tell you, I was moving quickly across ground that was damp, and I made a turn, and not all of me came with me in that kind of imaginary, graceful image that I had in my mind. No, and it was very painful. And I realized that I had somehow managed to get my foot where it has not been in a very long time. And I don't know which was worse, how it felt doing that and how it felt undoing that. And I'm also sitting on the wet ground. And I also have to now do something really unattractive to get up. And I'm saying to myself, as I do that function, yeah, eventually those expensive modeling lessons pay off. So the key that I'm bringing to you on this remarkably exciting 360 day is that it doesn't require 360 degrees to find our peace, to release our stress, to reconnect with who we are. It takes 1 degree. And the 1 degree of separation, that exercise that was popular quite a few years ago, everybody is 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. Then you figure out who you know, who knows who they know. We are 1 degree of separation. between us and who we are meant to be in our natural state of flow, of understanding what we do next, understanding that less is more, because the definition of less is baggage free. And Rhea, if you're watching, our barnacle buddies are the baggage. Once we know, once we understand that we have the ability and the permission to set that stuff aside, write the list. What is bugging me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at the list. How many can I control? Not that one, not that one, not that one. Fine. Then I only have 2. I only have 2 to deal with. We have the ability. What we don't have is the instruction book. What we don't have is the training. And where that's coming from, very soon, sooner than you expect, is me. We are 1 degree away from everything that we ever hoped to be. And it is not that we have to reach past that 1 degree. We have to forgive that 1 degree and get out of our own way. There are no magic time vampire steps that we must take. No time vampire hoops that we must jump to reach flow. We are flow. What we're doing is getting rid of the bolsters and the baggage and the anchors and the dead weight that is creating the drag that is preventing us from reaching our natural speed, our natural ease, our natural happiness, our natural flow. So on this day, while it's raining outside, either Mother Nature is sobbing brokenly or she's doing a workout and she's sweating. It's one of the two. While that is going on around us, we have the opportunity to say, okay, so the picnic is canceled. Thank God, because I hate going to picnics, sitting on the ground. That means it sets my day free to do something else. And because we are carrying less, because we don't leave our invisible baggage all over the middle of the floor, we don't keep stumbling and tripping and falling and saying, ow. When we see the thing, less is more. We are the more when we try to juggle less. We are everything we have ever wanted. We need to go through the steps of letting all the other stuff go. And it's not easy, because the habits that we create, we end up feeling they define us. People like us do things like this. And the other helpful little Viking voice says, not anymore. People like us used to do things like this. And then we looked in the mirror and said, how long have I been looking like that? People like us are willing to grow and prosper. People like us are ready. And if it's a struggle, well, that's what I'm here for. That's what we're doing. That's what we're building. That's what I've been working on for 7 years. The situation with the pandemic and with every other big thing that overwhelms us in the moment is that we have become accustomed to leaning on routines and leaning on habits as our way of navigating things. When the support falls down, it crumbles. It's unnerving. We have to relearn to rely on our internal mechanisms. They're still there. They're just rusty. In much the same way that you never forget what it's like to fall off a bicycle. Get out that bicycle. Let's give it a shot. And I know that for many of you who watch these videos, you're exhausted. And I know one of the reasons you watch is because I'm colorful and I make mistakes and I apologize, but I don't let them weigh me down, because who has time for that? I want you to know that I don't expect you to be this relentlessly bouncing Tigger. That just happens to be how I'm wired. But when we take the bouncing Tigger out of the equation, there are other characters. It's not Tigger or Eeyore. In my quiet moments, I'm sitting here, I'm all alone in here, and I'm creating and I'm writing, not bouncing around, and I'm not doing videos. I'm writing, I'm creating solutions that will give all of us a chance to look at and say, oh, how awesome is this? Yay. Because the objective is to simplify the learning curve. The objective is to get through the learning curve, to enjoy the finish line. The objective is to feel awesome that we got this, because that is who we are. That is who we are. So my awesome stress release, stress loss hack is simple steps to teach you how to get ready to let go of all the things holding you down and holding you back. Because when we do, we flow. And I'm now going to do something that is going to make people go, oh, geez. I'm going to say, with permission, I hope, from the late, great Robin Williams, I want us to be able to flow and be free. I want us to be able to say, I got this. This is me. I want us to be able, as I talked about on Tuesday, I want us to be able to smile with our eyes effortlessly. And I want to be part of that solution for you. And I want you to feel that you can count on me. So that's going to be it for today. Oh my goodness, it's only 10:37. Well, I was over an hour on Tuesday, so it evens out. So we have really interesting things happening next week. A couple of really exciting turns in the learning curve that I'm looking forward to. We have some new products that are coming in for the fan event that I'm scheduled to do in July. I think we have a couple of surprises for that event that are going to be pretty exciting. I can't divulge just yet because I haven't got every detail nailed down, but if you can be in the Ottawa area, or you can set aside some of the time on Sunday, July the 20th, I think you're going to be able to tap in on this crazy flow experience that goes on at my booth, because we're trying something very different. And it takes, you got to get stuff in place to make that happen. So between now and next week, amidst all the things that are going on in this, and I said wrong on, nothing is going wrong. Everything is just going on. It's just complicated and cluttered. In the midst of everything that is going on, please try to remember the best you can that you can have Post-it notes everywhere you need them to be, to remind you flow is naturally me, to remind you that I can does not mean I should, to remind you I need a partner, a buddy to walk with me. Remind you as often as you need to. Don't forget to use your later folder. Don't forget to give yourself permission to create an interlude space, like in the old days when people drove manual transmission cars. You couldn't go from one gear to the next gear without going through neutral. 30-second 5-finger breathing exercise is neutral. It's free. And it's not a time vampire. Okay, my lovelies? So I will love you and leave you. Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. And oh my God, did I tell you on Tuesday? Last week, I had 900 people from LinkedIn alone watching these videos. So thank you. Thank them. Invite them to check this out. We'll be a community. We'll be global. Okay? And I will catch you next time.